Hello, and welcome to another Behind the Poem story. Each week, I put up a poll on my Facebook page for my book, Between Hindsight and Foresight. Each week, I put up titles offered for you to choose which story you want to hear. This week's story is based on the poem Night Watch. Now, Night Watch is somewhat unusual in its origin, only because it is one of the older ideas in the collection. I have talked before about sonnets that I've written, especially the sonnets in high school, where I went through a phase that I wanted to challenge myself and use the sonnet form to capture ideas and challenge myself with using the rules in order to create something poetic. Night Watch is an example of a different phase that I went through where I was trying to create poetic images and personification, take poetic ideas, but not have them in any kind of strict or even necessarily poetic form. It was more, the original idea was more poetic prose. So full sentences, no kind of verse structure or rhyming structure, but an idea that wasn't a story, wasn't any kind of introduction to a story. It was just images and personification of concepts. So it was written originally in prose that was the personification of nighttime or night and justice. It's all the way from the original idea. It's kind of an inversion of whether or not you can hide in darkness and shadows, because the idea of doing evil deeds in the dark is a very kind of stereotypical good and evil thing, that bad things hide in the dark, that evil things hide in the dark. This kind of inverts that idea and the concept that the nighttime is the one place that people and things that do evil can't hide. And so it was a reflection of anybody who was doing evil during the day should suffer appropriate nightmares at nighttime. And it was meant to be ambiguous and unstructured, not just in the sentences or the imagery, no rhyme or verse form, but an actual full-on idea. So I'm going to read you now the original poetic prose of Night Watch, so that you can kind of get an idea of what I mean and see the original that's reflected in the poetry that is the end result published in the book. So Night Watch was written quite some time ago, so about 20 years ago. So, the nighttime has 1,000 eyes, and is ever so long pursuing those which he intends to find, those presences that do wrong in the light and hide among the indistinguishable masses during the day. These that are now left alone for the night to weed out among the shadows that are supposed to guard them. These shadows are known to the night, and the moon and the stars shine down upon unexpected faces, only to be succored into exposing themselves, condemned forevermore to the nightmare that will haunt their sleep, thanks to the evil things that they have done during the day. So, as I said, the original was meant to infer an inversion, that it's actually during the day that bad people hide. They hide among everyday people, people who you wouldn't suspect had done anything wrong, people who you wouldn't think had done anything wrong. It's difficult to tell in daylight who's done something wrong because everybody looks the same. At nighttime, when everything is quiet, you can kind of tell when someone is nervous or troubled or haunted, because they have nightmares, they have bad dreams, they get nervous, they start jumping at the shadows that are supposed to hide them, or at least theoretically, that's how I kind of imagine villains to be. They're almost easier in the light time when they can see something coming for them than they are in the dark when things that supposedly are worse than them are coming for them. So in the new version, that which is published within the book, I wanted to take that conceptual idea and take as many of the images as I could take as much of the ambiguity as I could, but give it a more structured, poetic form than just prose. So I gave it a rhyming structure, not a really strict one, not a really excessive one, just give it enough of a rhythm, enough of a link to rhyme to have it feel almost ritualistic. I wanted to make sure that it was still ambiguous and kind of elusive, not necessarily crystal clear, because the whole idea of hiding within shadows and not actually being able to hide within shadows was really powerful to me and in regards to the original. Nighttime and justice are still personified, but they're almost more active in their personification in the new version. They are set almost as hunters, as active hunters, looking for people who have done something wrong during the day to punish them at night. And so it adds that dimension of self-knowledge as well. You know what you've done. You know that something's coming for you, and it will kind of keep coming at you. It doesn't matter if you get away with it during the day, it will come for you at night, kind of thing. And that's in the final verse, in verse 5, it does kind of sum up the whole ambiguous concept, the whole idea of both the poem in its original form as poetic prose and the new form in which I try to capture that idea. Night will haunt their sleep. The sun would be a blessing, burning off maybe, but in the dark you can't hide from yourself the secrets you keep. So I hope you've enjoyed, the reading of the original and the reading of the final verse there. I hope that you kind of rethink maybe in your own writing what you might do with a poetic prose, an idea. A lot of friends that I have will write like a short, almost poetic statement as their status of something that they're contemplating during the day. And you can turn those things into writing prompts for stories. You can turn those things into writing prompts for poems. An ambiguous, imagery-filled idea, and a personification of an emotion, a personification of a moment, can really lead to more kind of creativity, to more ideas, which for me is what the poem Night Watch was and is and continues to be. So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed hearing some of the background of that poem and hearing the original. I hope that you enjoy the other videos that are available both on my YouTube channel and on the Facebook page for the book. And I hope to see you soon. I am running a workshop for writing, which is also advertised on the Facebook page and on my Instagram. Please look me up, Leah-The-Dreamer, and please pass on anything from the pages that you think someone else might enjoy, because that's what poetry is all about, sharing and resonating with other people. Have a lovely afternoon.